record. Yes, see this. Till now we have discussed 8 problems on liquidator's final statement of account. So now let us see problem number 9. See this problem number 9, 12 mark problem. The position of Muthu Limited on the date of liquidation was as follow. So now directly first two information, creditors 12,000 and bank overdraft 20,000. So whether this is unsecured creditors and bank overdraft. So directly we can come to know that these two informations are unsecured creditor. So you have to consider it under unsecured creditor. Then share capital 1000 preference shares of 10 each, 7 paid up, that is 70,000. Here partly paid preference share information is given. Then along with that 10,000 equity shares of 10 each, 9 paid up, 90,000. So partly paid equity share is also mentioned. Less calls in arrear 2,000. Total equity share amount is given, that is 88,000. Now if you remember previous problem, there we discussed about the treatment regarding two partly paid shares. So here also in this question they have mentioned you two partly paid shares, but what is the difference here? Here one partly paid share is of preference shareholder, and second partly paid share is regarding equity shareholder. So now what is the rule? If there are more than one class of partly paid share, then you have to equalize the partly paid share, provided you have to see whether these preference shares have priority or no priority. What do you mean by priority? Priority in the sense they have a right over claiming the dividend at the time of winding up and reclaiming the capital at the time of winding up. That means they have priority over equity shareholder. If they do not have a priority over equity shareholder, then we can consider preference share as equal to equity share. That means then preference share will become equity share if it is given in the question no priority at the time of liquidation or no priority at the time of payment of capital. But in this question they have not mentioned anything. So if they have not given, so we'll assume that they have priority. So that is why here only one partly paid share is there. Since we'll assume that preference shareholder have priority, only one partly paid share, that is equity share. So whenever there is only one share, then there is no need of doing calculation of surplus and calculation of, after calculating the surplus, distribution of surplus and verification of net loss. So all these working note, all three working notes are not necessary. Why? Because here only one partly paid shares are there. Then what about calls in arrears? So calls in arrear is something which is due by the shareholder. Call is made by the company, but shareholders have not paid the money. Arrears, calls in arrears. So such arrears for the company, it becomes receivable. So you can write these arrear under contributory. So this is very clear. Calls in arrear you have to consider under contributory, because it is related to members or it is related to shareholder, you can consider it under contributory. Next, calls in advance. Calls in advance, again two categories of calls in advance is given. One is for preference share 24,000, one is for equity share 4,000. Total calls in advance is 28,000. See this. So now what do you mean by calls in advance? So before making the call itself, if the shareholders have paid excess money, such money has to be paid back at the time of liquidation. So you can say it is a liability for the company to pay back the calls in advance to the shareholder at the time of winding up. So what you can do, under payment side there is preference share capital. So before giving the capital, company or liquidator will return the calls in advance money and before giving the equity capital, again calls in advance related to the equity shareholder should be returned first. After that, capital amount is given. That is why here calls in advance you can consider under payment side, that too under shareholders. Yes. Next, asset realized 2 lakh rupees. Then liquidation expenses 2000 rupees, liquidators remuneration 3000 rupees, prepare liquidators final statement of account. So asset realized expenses and remuneration directly given in this problem. So now you have to see the format, liquidators final statement. See this now, this is the format. Yes, see now receipt side first, cash or bank information, cash or bank balance. In this problem, if you see this problem, they have not mentioned, that is why it is nil. Cash or bank information is nil in this problem. Next comes asset realized. Asset realized is directly given. See this asset realized, just you need to enter in the format, that's it. Asset realized is 2 lakh, you have to enter here. Yes, we have written. Then surplus from secured creditor, again no information regarding the secured creditor and securities held by the secured creditor. That is why here surplus from secured creditor is nil. So same nil information you have to consider. Now contributory is very important. So that is nothing but calls in arrear amount you have to write here. Contributory, collection of calls in arrear which is not paid by the shareholder is received by the company at the time of winding up or at the time of liquidation. What is the calls in arrear amount? Say this, calls in arrear for equity share 10 rupees each, 9 paid up, now 2000 is not paid. So this 2000 you can consider here collection of calls in arrear directly from the question. So no other information you need to write in the receipt side. So receipt side total you can find, that is 2 lakh plus 2000, that is 2 lakh 2000. So now if you see, after that in the payment side there is secured creditor. Here there is no information regarding the secured creditor, and here assets are not realized by the liquidator. Whatever the asset, if there is any with the secured creditor, it is not realized by the liquidator. So if it is realized by the liquidator, then you have to write the amount here. If it is realized by the secured creditor, then you have to show the amount under receipt side, surplus from secured creditor, after deducting secured creditor's claim. So that is very important. Then legal charges not given, that is why nil. Legal charges nowhere mentioned, nil. Liquidator's remuneration directly given in the problem, same amount you have to write. See this liquidator remuneration 3000, same amount we have written. Since there is no percentage is given for calculating liquidator's remuneration, if there is a percentage is given, you have to calculate depending upon the asset realized or on the unsecured creditor or on the amount distributed to shareholder. But in this question directly mentioned liquidation expenses. Now liquidation expenses, again it is given directly, that is 2000, same amount you have to write liquidation expenses. Debenture, no information in this question, so nil. Preferential creditor, again preferential creditor is not there, so it is nil in this question. Next thing we have to see regarding unsecured creditor. Unsecured creditor is someone who do not have any charge on the asset of the company. That means they do not they don't have any assets as a security. So if case company fails to pay the amount, unsecured creditor have to wait, since they don't have any collateral against which the amount is given by them to the company. So that is why here what happens now, unsecured creditor, they have mentioned it in the question. One is creditor, we know trade creditor is an unsecured creditor. Normally just creditor is given, it is unsecured creditor. Next, bank overdraft, it is fully unsecured. This one you have to remember, bank overdraft is fully unsecured. So unsecured creditor is nothing but creditor plus bank overdraft, that is 12,000 plus 20,000, that is 32,000. So now we have entered unsecured creditor information. So now you know, in this question unsecured creditor is not our balancing figure. That means here payment to the shareholder is our balancing figure. So now we have to find that also. See this now. Next thing, preference shareholder. after giving the payment to the unsecured creditor, if there is any remaining balance with the liquidator, it is distributed among the shareholder. First, liquidator will give their advances, excess money paid by the shareholder to the company, that needs to be returned first. So calls in advances 24,000 is returned. After that, their capital is given back. So now preference share capital given in the question, that is 70,000. So same 70,000 you have to give here, 70 plus calls in advance 24,000, preference shareholder total, that is 94,000. And in this question they have not mentioned you regarding arrears of preference share dividend. If there is arrears, along with the capital, arrears of dividend is to be paid to the preference shareholder at the time of liquidation. So here it is not given. Now finally, after giving the payment to the preference shareholder, equity shareholder will get the payment. So here equity shareholder is our balancing figure. So under that balancing figure, first we need to return calls in advance to the equity shareholder. So equity shareholder calls in advance is given. See this, on equity share 4,000 is a calls in advance. So that calls in advance we have considered here. Then equity share capital, that is balancing figure 67,000. How to get 67,000? Just you have to see the receipt side total. Receipt side total is 2,02,000. 2,02,000 minus all the payment side information, minus 3,000 liquidator remuneration, minus liquidation expenses 2,000, minus unsecured creditor 32,000, minus preference shareholder 94,000. If you, and minus calls in advance 4,000. So if you deduct all these things, you will get equity share capital value is 67,000, balancing figure. Now we want total payment made to the equity shareholder, that is calls in advance 4,000 plus equity share capital 67,000. So total amount given to the equity shareholder written outside, that is 71,000. Total of the balance sheet, both the sides same, that is 2,02,000. So this is how you are going to solve this 12 mark problem. So any question in this problem? Yes, tell me. Have you understood this problem? Pramod, yes. Pratish, Rajat, I hope. Others, what about others? Have you all understood this one? Anusha, Ashish, Disha, I hope all have understood. It's a very simple problem. Only adjustment regarding calls in advance, that is payment side, and calls in arrear under contributory, that's it. And why we have not calculated net surplus working note? Because there is only one partly paid share. If there is more than one partly paid share, then we have to do the working note of calculation of net surplus, distribution of net surplus, and verification of net loss. So now next thing, next problem, problem number 10. If you see now, problem number 10 here, this is the problem regarding 24 marks. So now let us see this problem. See this, prepare liquidator's final statement account from the following. So now balance sheet of Ravi Limited as on 31st/12/2019 is given. So now if you see asset side, there is land and building, plant and machinery, patent, stock at cost, sundry debtor, cash at bank, and profit and loss account. Debit balance is given. So now it is very simple, because they will give you the realized value also. So no need to worry here. It is just the asset information they have given, fixed as well as current asset. Now liability side. Liability side, there is preference share. See this, 4,006% preference shares of 100 each. So now this we have to check whether they have a priority or no priority. If they have a priority, leave it as it is. If they don't have a priority, then we have to see the next information. See this now, 2,000 equity shares of 100 each, 75 paid. That means first we know it is a partly paid share. Why? Because face value is 100, paid is 75, 25 yet to be paid. So that is why it is a partly paid share. Now one more partly paid share is there, 6,000 equity shares of 100 is 60 paid. See this, face value is 60, paid is face value of the equity share is 100, paid is 60. That means not paid is 40. 100 minus 60 is 40. So now you can identify by seeing the first three information itself. What? that is nothing but here you need to do working note of net surplus, calculation of surplus, then distribution of surplus and verification. Why you have to do? Because here more than one category of partly paid shares are there. Whenever there is a more than one category of partly paid shares, you have to equalize the partly paid share. That means you have to make the notional call first. Then after making the notional call, that is nothing but imaginary call, then you have to deduct the notional call in order to get the final amount. That we have to see while calculating the working note. Then after that they have mentioned you 5% debentures having floating charges on all the assets, that is 2 lakh rupees, that is mentioned here, that is given, so no problem. But interest is also given, this we have to consider. So interest outstanding on the above is 10,000 and it is given in the balance sheet. That means this interest is already there and it is before 31/12/2019, that much we know. That is why it is given in the balance sheet, not in the adjustment. So this interest also we have to consider along with debenture capital at the time of payment to debenture holder. Then creditor includes 2 lakh, creditor total is 2,90,000. Out of that 10,000 due for income tax. So now we know creditor is unsecured creditor. Creditor means what? It is unsecured creditor. But income tax, any type of tax payment is preferential in nature. That means before making the payment to other category, first company needs to pay the tax. So that is why it is a preferential creditor. Due for income tax is a preferential creditor. That means how to get the unsecured creditor? That is nothing but 2,90,000 minus 10,000. If you do, you will get unsecured creditor. So that we need to see while doing the format. So now after discussing all those things and given under liability side, next we have to see the adjustment. See this, now company went into liquidation on the above date. So now first adjustment, the preference dividend were in arrears for 2 years. That means you have to know the preference share capital 4 lakh into 6%. That is nothing but class of preference share. 4 lakh into 6% you do into 2. Why? Because 2-year dividend is not paid. That is why. So now next, arrears of dividends are payable automatically on liquidation. That is we know, that is the rule. Then creditor includes a loan for 1 lakh rupees on mortgage of land and building. So now this mortgage of land and building loan is there, right? So it is nothing but a secured creditor. That means under unsecured creditor, out of the total creditor, there is a preferential creditor as well, there is a secured creditor as well. All these things we have to deduct from the total creditor. That is why this is nothing but loan for 1 lakh on mortgage of land and building is nothing but secured creditor. Why secured creditor? Because here security is involved, land and building is involved against which loan is given. So that is why it is secured creditor. The assets were realized as follow. Now there are several assets information given, revalued value or realized value. Land and building 2,40,000, that is realized. Then machinery and plant, that is 4 lakh. Patent 60,000. Stock 1,20,000. Sundry debtors 1,60,000. Now after seeing these realized values, few more adjustments are given. What is that? First, expenses of liquidation amounted to 21,800. So this is nothing but liquidation expenses given. Then liquidator is entitled for a commission of 3% on all asset realized except cash. Here in this question they have given you cash. Sometimes they will give you 3% on the asset realized. That means you have to include cash as well, because cash is also asset, current. But here they have mentioned except cash. So exclude cash and all other asset. Then and commission of 2% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditor including preferential creditor. So now again, sometimes they will give you in the question commission of 2% on the amount distributed to unsecured creditor. That's it. So in that case you have to consider preferential creditor as well. Unless and otherwise stated in the problem, unsecured creditor involves preferential creditor. But in this problem they have specifically given preferential creditor also you need to calculate remuneration. So you have to consider both unsecured creditor, preferential creditor and asset realized. Then preferential creditor amounted to 30,000. This is also given. So this you can write directly, preferential creditor. Then assume all the payments were made on 36/2020. So now this is again very important, 36/2020. Why? Because if you see the balance sheet is 31/12/2019. there is a debenture outstanding. So for calculating debenture outstanding or outstanding interest on debenture, now after the closure of after the preparation of balance sheet, after 6 months these payments were made. That means there is a 6-month due. That 6-month due is for outstanding debenture interest. First you have to write the debenture, then you have to write the interest given in the question, then you have to consider outstanding debenture interest calculation. Working note you have to do. Working note you can show there itself or you can show separately. So now all this information is given regarding this problem. Now we have to see the solution part. See this now. Liquidator's final statement of account, receipt side. Now receipt side one by one we have to see. First is cash at bank. Whether cash at bank information is given in this question. If you see here asset side, under asset side, if you see cash at bank is given, see this 60,000. so same amount you will write here under receipt side, cash at bank as 60,000 we have taken. Then second is regarding asset realized. Asset realized 5 items: land and building, plant and machinery, patent, stock, debtor. All these 5 item information is given in the adjustment. See this, land and building is 2,40,000, machinery is 4,00,000, patent is 60,000, stock is 1,20,000, sundry debtor is 1,60,000. Directly from the adjustment you can enter the amount. You will get total assets realized, that is 9,80,000. So after getting total assets realized, next thing we have to see surplus from secured creditor. Surplus from secured creditor, whether we have information here regarding secured creditor. Yes, secured creditor information is given in this problem. And what is that information? That is regarding land and building loan. Land and building loan, that is given in the adjustment. See this, now we have to see the adjustment here. Adjustment, if you see, creditor include loan for 1,00,000 rupees on the mortgage of land and building. So this is a secured creditor, but assets are not realized by the secured creditor and assets are realized by the liquidator. Since it is not mentioned in the problem, we have to assume that it is realized by the liquidator. Since it is a liquidator's final statement of account, unless and otherwise mentioned in the problem, so we'll assume that it is realized by the liquidator. Sometimes what happens, it is realized by the secured creditor. In that case you have to write the surplus here. So but in this problem we are taking other assumption. So surplus from secured creditor is nil here. Contributory also nil. That we have to see. Why in this problem it is nil? Because at the time of preparation of working note you will get amount payable and not amount receivable. If you get amount receivable you have to consider under contributory. If you get amount payable you have to pay to the shareholder. So that is why contributory is nil in the problem. So now you can write the asset side total. Asset side total or receipt side total you can say, that is 60,000 plus 9,80,000. 60,000 plus 9,80,000, that is nothing but 10,40,000. See this 10,40,000 is receipt side total. Cash at bank plus asset realized. Now payment side. Payment side secured creditor. Secured creditor is 1,00,000. So now here who is going to make the payment? Since we can write the secured creditor as 1,00,000 in the payment side, as soon as you enter this amount in the payment side, it is assumed that payment is made by the liquidator. If payment is not made by the liquidator, you should not consider under payment side secured creditor. In this problem we have considered, that is why here payment is done by the liquidator. That means liquidator will give the money to the secured creditor, that is 1,00,000 rupees. Legal charges not there, nil. Legal charge is not there in this question, nil. Liquidator's remuneration. So now liquidator's remuneration, on 3 type you have to calculate liquidator's remuneration. One is for realized, second is for unsecured creditor, and one more is for preferential creditor. So now first we will calculate liquidator's remuneration on the asset realized. Asset realized we know, if you see the receipt side, there you get asset realized 9,80,000. So 9,80,000 into 3% directly. So 3% is given in the question. See this, 3% is given in the question. Asset realized, so 9,80,000 is asset realized information. Into 3% you do, you will get 29,400. So 29,400 is a remuneration to the liquidator with the help of asset realized. So now next thing, next 2% you have to calculate for preferential creditor also. Unsecured creditor also you have to calculate, preferential creditor also you have to calculate. Why? Because if you see the adjustment here, if you see the adjustment in this question, you will come to know. They have said amount distributed among the unsecured creditor including the preferential creditor. So now we want preferential creditor information. Preferential creditor, they have given you 30,000, but we have taken 40,000. Why? Because income tax due is there. See this 30,000 given preferential creditor plus income tax due that is given in the balance sheet below the creditor. This is also preferential. So 30,000 plus 10,000, total 40,000. So now 40,000 is a total of preferential creditor. Now on that 40,000 you take 2%. So you will get 800 rupees. Again liquidator gets 800 rupees as remuneration with the help of this preferential creditor. Next, unsecured creditor. Unsecured creditor is 2%. Now we want unsecured creditor amount. How to get unsecured creditor amount in this problem? In this problem we have to do the working note. One working note we have to do below the format in order to get the unsecured creditor amount. That we will see now. See this now, just below the format unsecured creditor is arrived at. How to get the unsecured creditor final balance? See this, creditors given in the balance sheet. What is that? 2,90,000. From that you deduct due for income tax. Why? Because it is preferential in nature. That is why minus 10,000. Then minus mortgage loan. Why you are deducting mortgage loan? Because it is a secured creditor. That we have deducted 1 lakh. Minus again preferential creditor. Preferential creditor, why you have to deduct? Because preferential creditor they have mentioned in the adjustment. See this, preferential creditor is amounted to 30,000. So this preferential creditor again we have to assume that it is included in this total creditor value. That is why it is deducted from the total creditor. So total creditor 2,90,000 minus income tax 10,000 minus mortgage loan 1 lakh minus preferential creditor 30,000. Now you will get final balance. Final balance, that is 2,90,000 minus 1,40,000. You will get 1,50,000. So 1,50,000 is our unsecured creditor balance. So see this, working note unsecured creditor 1,50,000 we have considered. So with the help of this working note 1,50,000, take 2%. See this, directly 2%, not 2 by 102, directly 2%. Since it is not a balancing figure, since it is directly given in the problem, directly take 2%. 1,50,000 into 2%, if you do, you will get 3,000. So now we have calculated liquidator's remuneration for all the category: asset realized, preferential creditor as well as unsecured creditor. Next thing is liquidation expenses. Liquidation expenses is given in the problem. See this, expense of liquidation 21,800. Directly you can write here liquidation expenses 21,800. Then debenture holder. Now very important, debenture holder 5% debenture. Now we have to see the liability side. Liability side, if you see here, debenture having floating charges on the asset 2 lakh rupee. First we have to give the debenture capital to the debenture holder at the time of liquidation. Along with this, yes, along with this you have to give back any outstanding debenture interest. See this, interest outstanding on the above, that is 10,000. So first you have to return debenture capital, that is 2 lakh plus 10,000. So that 10,000 you have to consider here. So 2 lakh plus 10,000, 2 lakh 10,000. Then one more thing you have to see here. Assume that all the payments were made on 36/2020. Again 6 months after the preparation of balance sheet, payments were made. So 6 month debenture is due now. Outstanding debenture interest is there for 6 months. How to calculate outstanding debenture interest up to 36/2020? How to get that? So now debenture value we know 2 lakh rupees. 2 lakh into class of debenture, that is 5% debenture. That is why 2 lakh into 5% you do. 2 lakh into 5% you will get one amount into 6 by 12. Why 6 by 12? January, February, March, April, May, June, till June, 6 months. So 6 by 12. If it is for 1 year, then 12 by 12 by 12 you have to do. So here 6 by 12 we have done. You will get the amount 5,000 rupees. Now add all these information. 2 lakh 10,000 5,000. Debenture holder is 2 lakh 15,000. So now liquidator has made the payment to the debenture holder. Now after making this payment, next thing you have to consider is preferential creditor. Preferential creditor easy. Why? Because 30,000 is given in the adjustment. See, this preferential creditor amounted to 30,000 given, plus income tax due. Income tax due is also preferential, 30,000 plus 10,000. So now total preferential creditor is 40,000, that we know. So same, with the help of this 40,000, payment is made to the liquidator. That is nothing but liquidator's remuneration based on amount distributed to preferential creditor. See this, that is 40,000, 2% we have taken. So same 40,000 we have written here, preferential creditor. Next, unsecured creditor, working note. I have already told you, from the total creditor you have to deduct income tax due, that is preferential payment, preferential creditor. Then mortgage loan is there, that is secured creditor. Secured creditor you have to deduct. Then you have to deduct one more preferential creditor given in the problem. Working note we have considered here. See this, we have already discussed about this. 2 lakh 90 minus 10 minus 1 lakh minus 30,000. 1 lakh 50,000 is unsecured creditor. So this unsecured creditor information you have to write here. Working note. Yes. So now liquidator has made the payment to 7 category of people from the beginning. If you see the format. Now next thing is preference shareholder. Preference shareholder, first he will get back his preference share capital. That is 6% preference share capital. 6% preference share capital is given in the question. See this, that is 4 lakh rupees. So give back the capital to the shareholder at the time of liquidation. So here see this, we have written 6% preference share capital is 4 lakh. Plus there is arrears of dividend, that is 2 year. So how to get the arrears of dividend? Very simple. Capital amount 4 lakh into 6% class of preference share into, for 2 year arrears of dividends were not given. So if you do this type of multiplication, 4 lakh into 6% into 2, you will get 48,000. So total amount paid to preference shareholder 4 lakh plus 48,000, 4 lakh 48,000. So this is the payment made to the preference shareholder in the hands of liquidator. Next, equity shareholder. Now finally, after making all the payment, we need to make the payment to the equity shareholder. So how to get the payment to the equity shareholder? So we have to do the working note. Why we need to do the working note? I have already told in this problem there are 2 partly paid shares are there. 2 partly paid shares information is given. That is why we have to make the working note. See this now, working note number 2. That is calculation of distribution of surplus. So now net surplus we want. First thing you have to calculate net surplus. How to get the net surplus? First you have to see receipt side total. Receipt side total, that is nothing but cash plus asset realized. 60,000 plus 9,80,000. That is 10,40,000. We got receipt side total minus all the items in the payment side. That is nothing but minus 1 lakh secured creditor, minus liquidator's remuneration 29,400, minus 800, minus 3,000, minus liquidation expenses 21,800, minus debenture holder 2,50,000, minus preferential creditor 40,000, minus unsecured creditor 1,50,000, minus preference shareholder 4,48,000. If you deduct all these information from the receipt side total, you will get what? Here net surplus. See this, 10,40,000 minus 10,88,000. You will get 32,000 as net surplus. Add notional call. Now you have to consider notional call. How to get the notional call here? Notional call, if you see this, there are 2 types of partly paid share. Preference share they have not mentioned anything, so we'll assume that they have a priority over equity shareholder, so we'll not consider that. So here maximum partly paid share value, that is 75. That is first class of equity share. 2,000 shares of 75 paid. See this. Now second category, 6,000 equity share, 60 paid. So now we have to equalize the partly paid share, whichever is having the minimum balance or minimum paid up value, we have to equalize to the maximum paid up value. So that is nothing but 75 minus 60. 75 minus 60, you will get 15 rupees. So that 15 rupees you have to consider, and you have to make one notional call. So notional call we have considered here. See this, after net surplus 32,000, you have to add notional call to the net surplus. That is for the second category, 6,000 equity shares at a 15 per share. How we got 15? That is maximum paid up value minus minimum paid up value, 75 minus 60, we got 15. So now that amount is 90,000. So now you need total surplus. See this total surplus we want 32,000 plus 90,000, you will get total surplus as 1,22,000. So this is our total surplus. So after getting the total surplus, what you have to do? You have to distribute this total surplus among both the classes of equity share. That is, first is 75 rupees paid up as well as 60 rupees paid up. To this you have to distribute. How to distribute that? First you have to write how many shares are there in the first category, that is 2,000 equity share. Second category 6,000 equity share. Now shares in the total surplus in the ratio of shares held by the each class. So first class 2,000, second class 6,000, 2,000 is to 6,000. So now take the ratio, all 0 cancel, 1 is to 3. 1:3 is our ratio. So shares in the total surplus, 1,22,000 into 1 by 4, you will get what? 30,500. Now 1,22,000 into 3 by 4, you will get 91,500 minus notional call. For the first category, notional call is nil. Why? Because it is a maximum paid up value. For the second category, you have to deduct the notional call that we got in the previous working note, 90,000. So if you deducted this, you will get amount payable or amount receivable. If you get the positive answer here, that is nothing but amount payable. So you have to give back this amount to the shareholder, 30,500 as well as 1,500. You have to write it under this one, payment side you have to consider. So remaining part of the problem,